On Monday, I went out to go Uber drive for about 6 hours and I made $300. Or did I make 197? In this podcast episode, I will give you the 3 levels, like easy, medium, and hard ways to do your accounting as an Uber driver. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by the Gig You app. My background before I was an Uber driver, I was an accountant. I was an economist for 20 years of my life, give or take. All I did was spreadsheets and worked in QuickBooks. I wasn't a CPA, but I know accounting pretty well. I went to grad school, took a lot of courses in this. And what's really interesting to me is that a lot of Uber drivers or DoorDash or any type of gig worker will say they treat their gig like a business. And I understand that. But to me, as an accountant, I think that accounting is the language of business. And I could go look at Uber's business, your business, McDonald's business, any business, and actually be able to open their books, look at their profit and loss statement, their balance sheet, and their statement of cash flows, and kind of understand their business. That's level 3. That's what I do. You don't have to do that. And so I'll break it down in this episode, a couple of different ways for you to do it. But it's important to understand the difference between the money that went into your account, that's earned money, that's revenue, and what you actually made, which is after your expenses, that's 197. That's for me, at least on Monday. So I'm going to use Monday as an example and go through all of my numbers. Okay, first, I went out March 16th, Monday at night. Uber has been giving me these amazing bonuses. So this is pretty exceptional for me. This is not normal, but I generated $300.76 in revenue. I was online for 6 hours and active for 5 hours and 56 minutes. If I were to break it down, it was like $118 was the fare. Promotions were $103. That's the promotions I'm talking about. And then $78 in tips. I just did Uber Eats. Basically, every time I did an Uber Eats order, I got a promotion. It was amazing. Thank you. I like that stuff from Uber. Uber, keep giving me promotions like this. I will keep driving. But we need more information, right? I was actually out of my house 9.5 hours. And the reason why is I drove an hour to the place where I was going to go drive. And on the way home, a blizzard had hit. The weather was so bad. It took me actually 2.5 hours to get home. It was nuts. Or something like that. It was some sort of absurd number. So it ended up working 9.5 hours, which is not great. But I only drove 172 miles. So I still earned some good money. I was happy with it. But I spent money. On my way down there to go do my work, I spent $16 on junk food. Total guilty pleasure, but I was like, well, I'm skipping dinner tonight. So I went and got beef jerky thinking that was healthy. No, it's not healthy. I got a Red Bull because I was like, I'm going to be up late tonight driving. And then I think I got a big bottle of water or something like that for $16. Not the best thing. But I also spent more money. On the way home, like I said, there was a blizzard. So I was like, let me charge the Tesla a little bit. So I went to a supercharger for 10 minutes before I went home. And I put $8.91 into the Tesla charger to get me more than enough battery to get home. And God forbid there was a wreck on the highway or whatever, I wouldn't be stuck without electricity. And then also, it just so happens on Monday, my $106 paid subscription to Tesla for the Tesla full self-drive, the autonomous driving subscription that comes in every month, that came in on Monday and that took out of my account. So there's a lot of transactions here. Let's kind of go through this here. Okay, level 1. If you are a weekend warrior, which I think a lot of drivers are, the rest of this video may not be too much important for you, but I want to at least explain why I think you should be doing it this way. A weekend warrior to me is somebody who gets into the gig, DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, whatever, and they need to pay a $5,000 bill off. And they're going to work every Saturday for 5 hours until that $5,000 bill is paid off. they probably don't need to do a level 3 type of accounting. Like a level 1 works. And so my weekend warrior example is $300 is what I earned on Monday minus the $8.91 I spent on electricity. Or maybe if you have a gas car, right, you spent $10 to fill your tank or whatever. And then the $16 because I bought that stuff because I was going to go out and drive, that also counts. So the money that I made wasn't $300. $300 went into my account, but whatever, $24 came out of my account. So $275 is what I made. This is the easiest way to do it. Cash in, cash out. And notice I didn't count my Tesla full self-drive subscription here. And the reason why is because maybe if you had a Tesla, you would do this, but let's pretend it's like Sirius XM. You'd probably still have that subscription, whether you did Uber driving or not, as a weekend warrior. Like the subscriptions that you have for things, it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to count that, and nor should you. But following me so far, that's level 1. And I'd say 70% of drivers should be doing it this way. It's just easy. Don't overcomplicate it. Get the $5,000 that you need to pay off that bill and go about your life. Stop the gig. But let's go to level 2. What does level 2 look like? I think there's 2 ways to do level 2. The easy and safe way to do it is to say that $300 in revenue came into your account. You drove 172 miles. And the IRS mileage rate is 72.5 cents per mile. So your costs were $124. That means your income was $176. You also spent $8 and $16. So pay yourself $150. You following me with that? So in my world, I when I joined or I started using Uber and Lyft and all these other things, I went to the bank and opened a business checking account. And with that business checking account, all of my gig work goes into that account. And then I pay myself out of that account into my personal account. And in the easy and safe level 2 way of doing it is just use the government mileage. Say, you know what? Ooh, it cost me $124 in miles. So I'm only going to pay myself $150. Now that's like a 50% margin. That's probably not very accurate, is it? I mean, especially 72 cents per mile. That's really a lot of money. Unless you're driving around in a Cadillac Escalade or something. 72 cents a mile is probably not the right number. I've got a solution for you. GigU sponsor this channel on their app. If you download their app and use their app, they have a calculator to help you estimate your exact cost per mile. Check it out. It's great. And so instead of using 72 cents per mile or 72.5 cents per mile, the second way to do the easy and safe way is to just use your own mileage rate. So for me, in this scenario, it's like, hey, $300 in revenue, my miles were 172. And in this example, I said 35 cents is my personal mileage rate. So my mileage cost was 60. So my income was 240, electricity, snacks, 16, pay myself $214. Does that make sense? So the easiest way to do it for a level 2 is to just say, well, whatever the mileage rate is. But the key thing in this is that, again, take that money from Uber or Lyft or Shipt or whatever program that you use, Amazon Flex, put it into a checking account that's separate from your personal account. Make sure that you keep the money in there to cover your expenses. Fuel, maintenance, gas, I guess the same thing, depreciation, whatever it may be, repairs, keep that money in there, taxes, and then pay yourself into your personal account the balance of what's remaining. That's really important. It's so important because I think what happens is $300 goes into somebody's personal account and they don't actually track their miles. They're not counting for their expenses. And then when you need to get new tires or you need to pay your taxes, you have no money set aside. It's a way of saving money. That's what accounting does. You're putting money into buckets, that bucket being your mileage rate, whatever it might be. It's saying, don't spend this money until these other expenses. So that's the proper, at least this easiest level or the next level of level 2 that I'd probably do. But that's not the way I do it. That's not the way I do it. I'm an accountant and I love numbers. I don't think you need to do it this in depth, but I think it's really important if you do think Uber or gig work is a business and you treat it like a business, you should be looking at something like this. So I'm going to break it down for you. My revenue, $300.76. Easy so far. Same number. But you notice my mileage number is different. It's only $50.93. Well, where did that come from? Well, my miles was 172. My cost per mile is 30 cents. It's not 35 cents. It's not 72 cents. My actual cost per mile is 30 cents. And how did I come up with this? Well, first and foremost, depreciation. Let's talk about depreciation. I think by far the biggest expense that any driver might have is depreciation. It's so important that you account for this. Now, here's how I came up with my depreciation number. It's called straight line method, but I purchased my Tesla for $39,298. That includes the price of the car, the taxes, the registration, everything, $39,000. When I get rid of my car, I'm going to get rid of it and it's going to be worth about $2,000. That means the car is going to depreciate, lose $37,000, give or take, worth of value. And I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of the car at 250,000 miles. So the depreciation by the miles gives me that 15 cents. My depreciation cost, every single mile that I drive my vehicle, is 15 cents. Now, you could say, Levi, the car depreciates over time and all that kind of stuff. But if you're driving a lot of miles, it doesn't matter how old your car is. My Tesla is only 2 years old. But my Tesla, because I've put 155,000 miles on it, is depreciated a lot more than the age of the car. The miles is what's causing the depreciation. So an easy way to do it is just come up with a calculation for your depreciation. And here's a secret. Every single car has depreciation. Your car is not fully depreciated, no matter how you might say it. Because whatever your car is worth today, if you decide to drive it for another year or two, or 3 years, or a couple of weeks, what it's worth today is going to be worth less tomorrow because you're going to drive more miles. So you have to come up with that number. And if you're honest with yourself, if you treat Uber or gig work like a business, you have to account for depreciation, even if it's 1 or 2 cents per mile. It doesn't matter. Come up with a methodology for your depreciation. I think the per mile, the straight line depreciation method works really well. That's the way I would do it. That's the way I am doing it, but check that out that way. Now, the next cost per mile for me is electricity, fuel. I drive a Tesla. It's really complicated. At home, I pay 14 cents per kilowatt hour. That's like a gallon of gas or whatever. When I supercharge, it's more expensive. It's as high as 42 cents. It's as low as 37 cents. So right now it's 39 cents is kind of my average. And I do about 50-50, 50% at home charging, 50% charging out while I'm out Uber driving. So my average cost is 27 cents per kilowatt hour. Break it all down. It costs me about 8 cents per mile to drive the vehicle. Now you can figure out your gas. If your gas is a lot easier to figure out. For a lot of people, I've put $3.50 per gallon and a gallon of gas goes 30 miles. You could figure out your own cost per mile. But again, depreciation and maintenance. Those are two critical things. Or I'm sorry, depreciation and fuel. Now let's get into maintenance. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but the simplest way to do it is think about all the different things that you need to do to your vehicle to maintain it. Tires, brakes, suspension, air, filters, lights, wipers, alignment, fluid, oil, even saving some money for repairs. Figure out how much it costs per time that you do that, and then how many miles, the interval of miles to do that. So for me, every 50,000 miles, I'm going to probably put $1,000 worth of tires on the car. Now, last time it actually ended up being $1,400, but it was 85,000 miles. These are just numbers. You're putting a number to put aside to pay for the tires. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be accounted for. So for me, my tires are 2 cents. Brakes are almost free. I've put 155,000 miles on my Tesla, and the guys at the, I just did my safety inspection. They said the car still has perfect, almost brand new brakes because the engine brakes the Tesla. So suspension, maybe $5,000 to repair it. I'm putting money away for that. Teslas are notorious for suspension braking. If I never spend that money, I still put money aside for it. So that's good. Air filters, who cares? Lights, wipers, and then battery. Now, $3,000 for a battery. It could cost as much as $10,000, $12,000 for a battery. but the battery may not fail either. So this is like an insurance policy. So my maintenance per mile is 6 cents, which means going back to my mileage again, my revenue is $300. My mileage based on the 30 cents per mile is $50. My gross margin, my variable costs were 30 cents per mile, $50. My gross margin now ends up being $249. Now my daily fixed costs, so variable costs are every time the car rolls, it costs me money. But if it doesn't roll, it doesn't cost me anything. But every month I have a bill. And these fixed costs, what are they? My Tesla Y car payment, $659 a month. My auto insurance, $251. My FSD subscription, like we talked about, $106. 2 car washes inside and out, almost $70 something, almost $80. Planet Fitness, this is not a tax deduction, but I joined Planet Fitness because I'm always out and about in the city and I want to be able to quickly find a restroom, like to go for a walk, especially when it's snowing. So I joined Planet Fitness because I'm a driver. There's no Planet Fitness near my house. I only joined it because I'm a driver. So I consider that an expense, not a tax deduction, just an expense. Panera, same thing. I'm always out and about. I want to go get a free cup of coffee. I pay $16 a month for unlimited drinks. Tesla Entertainment, you pay about $100 per year, so $8 per month. And then I put another $50 because I don't know what I'm going to buy. The snacks. I went out and got $16 worth of snacks. Normally when my wife makes me something, I spend $16 on beef jerky, which is dumb. So I broke that down to a daily rate. And now I normally don't think about it daily. I only think about this monthly, but for this video, I'm going to break it down per day. So my daily rate was $39. So my revenue was $300 minus $50 in variable costs, mileage, gross margin $249. My profit is now, well, my fixed costs were $39 to pay for all those things that a bill I have every single month. My profit's $210. My tax deduction, that's the interesting one, $124. How do I come up with that? Well, my mileage was $172. And we know the IRS mileage rate is 72.5 cents per mile. That means my tax deduction off of what I worked that day was $124. I don't get taxed on that. So if I go back to my profit and loss one more time, $300 revenue, $50, $249, $39, $210 in profit. My tax deduction was $124. For savings purposes, I put money into a savings, $12 for tax deduction, 15 at a 15% rate. Now, sometimes my taxes are more, sometimes my taxes are less. Remember, I have a blended thing. I make money a lot of different ways, but I want to make sure I save money for taxes. So my after-tax income, my wage, is $197. That's how much I pay myself. So I went out and I earned $300, and that went into this checking account, and then I can transfer $197. Now, the way I do it is a little bit different. I just wait till the end of the month and put all this money in this account. And at the end of the month, I just pay myself. But I can do it on a per daily basis. I can do it on a per week basis. You can do it any cycle that you want, but that's how that works. So now let's take a look at cash flow. Well, before we do that, actually, what is my hourly wage? So my wage, I said, was $197. But remember, I was out of my house for nine and a half hours. So I actually ended up making an hourly wage of $20.93 after my expenses and after taxes, etc. Now let's talk about cash flow. Can't believe I'm showing you this, but beginning balance. That's my business checking account for Uber. $8,123 is in that account. Now I've been driving for 6 years. I spend money out of that account. I make money, whatever, but that's my cash balance. So the cash in was $300. I got the snack, I got the supercharger, FSD bill came through, and my wage, I pay myself $197. Those transactions were taken out of my account. So the cash out, so $300 went in, but $330 went out of the account. Well, $330 went out of the account, not this way. So my ending cash balance is $8,093. So you've got your profit and loss statement and my cash flow. How the cash work in the business. You following me so far? Now comes the most important of all of the sheets or all the documents. My balance sheet. What is my business worth? If you treat Uber or DoorDash or any of these other things like a business, this is how you do it right here. My cash. Now we know my cash balance is $8,093. I can use that to pay for charging. I can use that to pay for tires. I can take money out, pay myself more, whatever. It's cash balance. My Tesla was worth $39,000, but I put 155,000 miles on it. So there's a depreciation of $23,000 on that vehicle. That means my book value on my Tesla is about $16,000. That's not how much I could trade it in for. That's not how much I could sell it on Facebook Marketplace. I could probably get somewhere around 16. It could be more, it could be less, but the book value of my Tesla is $16,000. I've accounted for it. See, people talk about my Tesla depreciating. I don't care because I account for it. I know what I'm doing. Other assets, I have things like my gear. So like dash camera, floor mats, some other stuff. I spent about $528 on that stuff. It's probably fully depreciated. It's not really an asset, but this is how it is. So my total assets in the business are $24,738. That's how much my business is worth asset wise. But I have liabilities. I have a $17,000 car loan. That's right. I'm upside down on my car. Not really, but $17,000 is what I still owe on my car. And the book value is only $16,000. So technically speaking, I'm like $1,200, $1,300 upside down. But I have $8,000 in cash. So it doesn't really bother me too much. I have a $258 credit card bill because I do use a credit card for transactions. So the cash works that way. And I can pay that every month. So my total liabilities are $17,000 in liabilities. That means the equity of my business is not the $8,000 in cash or the value of my Tesla or anything like that. It's a combination of assets equals your liabilities and your owner's equity, your equity. So $7,000. And these two things have to balance. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. That transaction, that document, that spreadsheet has to balance. It does. So my business is worth $7,000. If I stopped Uber driving today, sold my car, cashed out the accounts, I'd have about $7,000 remaining. Not bad. Does that make sense so far? That's the balance sheet. That's all of the accounting transactions. I'm not saying you have to do it my way. My way's complicated. I like it. It's actually pretty easy to do. I only do it once per month. It doesn't really matter. It's not that hard to do. If you're interested in a spreadsheet to do this, let me know. Maybe I'll put one together. I use Apple numbers. I don't use Excel. I don't use Google Sheets, but I can probably put something together. So if you're interested, you're still watching this video, I'll put something together for you. But there's easy ways. The easiest way, if you're a weekend warrior, just do a level 1. This is how much money went in my account. This is how much money I spent. The remainder goes to me, and pay that bill off and be done with it. If you're level 2, know your cost per mile, whatever it is, and account for it that way. But make sure you have a separate checking account. Do not put Uber's money into your personal account if you want to treat it like a business. And let me tell you the reason why that matters. Banks look at that. Banks look at my transactions, and I've been doing this for 6 years. They go, that's a business. Now, I did form an LLC and I did all that, but you don't have to do that. As long as banks see money going in and money going out and that bank account growing, they know you're treating it like a business. And then I got these documents. I can show them. Look at my statements. Here's what Uber sent me. Here's my profit and loss statements. They see me treating it like a business. In the bank, I can loan against that. I can go get another car. I can use that as income to get another credit card. I can do whatever. That's why it matters. And then, of course, if you want to make it really complicated like me, go for it. Have some fun. Go for it. Have some fun. I totally like that. How do you treat your business? Do you do something like this? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's talk about those bonuses. I've been getting some banger bonuses from Uber. I am pretty much just an Uber passenger driver. That's what I like to do. I've done almost 16,000 trips between Uber and Lyft and stuff. I've probably done 600 Uber Eats orders. I don't know the exact number. But I'm doing a lot more of them. And the reason why is that Uber has been giving me crazy bonuses. This week alone, there's $1,000 in bonuses, 1,160 to be exact, in Uber Eats bonuses. And the way they come in is like this. I'm going to show you this one example. On Friday, I will be driving between 5 and 9 p.m. If I complete 9 Uber Eats orders, I get $27. And then if I complete 2 more, I get an additional 11. 2 more, additional 13. two more additional 15. And they go in these 3 to 4 hour increments. Some of them are really big, like this one. This one's what, 30, 40, 50, almost $60. I have one that's like $80 in 3 hours. Really good money. So I've been doing a lot of Uber Eats. I don't like Uber Eats over driving passengers. I think I've made that pretty clear on my channel, but it's an easy way to make 50 something dollars an hour right now. Like again, on Monday, I went out and drove. I did 6 hours online and I brought home $300 in revenue. That's really good. And if I wouldn't have had a blizzard, I would have been home a lot quicker, but it is what it is. Let's talk about your questions and your comments first. Oh, by the way, Rick Dixon over in, he asked me on a video, it's like, why are you taking a $2.50 order, an Uber Eats order for $2.50? This is why, because I got to get this bonus done. Is that the bonus is ending. I take whatever ride I can get. So if it's $2.50 for 20 minutes, I'm taking it because I'm going to get a $15 bonus. So that's why I did it. Look, here's a couple other really interesting things here. I want to watch this video. This guy says he's coding on wheels. And I wanted to see if this inspires you. Watch this.
Day 26 of coding while waiting for Uber rides. Today I built another automation with Playwright, which opens the Disk Screener website automatically. I've been having fun learning how to automate small tasks, and it's also helping me improve my coding skills. Looks like I just got a ride request for $27. That takes about 16 minutes. So I'm going to take this one and wrap up my laptop. It's always exciting when you get that notification. Time to go pick up the rider. One step closer to my goal. See you tomorrow.
That's right. He's coding on wheels. I love this. It's probably really hard to code like this, but if Uber is going to get rid of us because there's going to be autonomous cars and the gig is going away and they're not paying us as much, it behooves us, like if we're going to sit around and cherry pick all day and not be active, we're going to sit in our car parked, to be productive. It's fun to listen to some music and some podcasts or sporting events or whatever you might do, watch Netflix, but it's really, really important to be productive. So maybe learn a new language, maybe code on wheels like this guy. For me, it's been content production. I like to produce content and write, and I like to tell stories, and I like to do spreadsheets. So on days when I'm slow in between rides, I produce stuff for this channel as an example. Be productive. You're already in, as a gig worker, in a very low paying job that the system is working against us. It's important for us to just level up, get more advanced. And I love this. This guy's coding on wheels. So Code on Wheels, check him out. He's on TikTok. You can find a lot of my content on TikTok too. Okay, let's see here. Do you risk getting a bad review or incorrect items or items not received from a customer as a report? This was As Mocking asked me. What he's responding to is a short little essay I wrote where, let's tell you a story. To do a $2.50 order, I ended up having to go to a Wendy's at like 1:30 in the morning or something like that, 12:30 in the morning. And when I got there, there was a line in the drive-thru because you couldn't go inside. The restaurant was closed, but you can go through the drive-thru. And I'd waited in line. By the time I got to the window, the guy was like, "We don't have any hamburger patties." So the order that I was picking up, even though it was like a Baconator, he was like, "Can I give you chicken nuggets instead?" I was thinking to myself, like, I don't care what you put in that bag. You can put chicken nuggets, you can fill that bag up with ketchup packets and napkins. I'm delivering whatever you put in that bag. And so AskMock is kind of like, well, do I risk getting a bad review? Maybe. But it's not my responsibility to be checking the bag. And honestly, that my essay is kind of about this thing of like, if I were to try to contact that passenger or the customer that's getting that food or whatever, what are they going to do? They're going to just tell me to cancel. Now my 15 minutes of effort, my 20 minutes of effort, however long I've been working on this, goes to zero. I get paid $0 for that work. Also, I'm working on a bonus. I got to get this trip done. I'm on a mission to get as many trips done as possible. I know it sounds cold and I wish I was a better professional or whatever, but Uber is going to get their money. Wendy's is going to get their money. The customer is going to get some level of satisfaction. Got to take care of ourselves. So whatever Wendy's or whoever puts in those bags, they seal them, they put little tape on them. That's on them. I'll deliver whatever they want. Final question. Chicken says, have you ever considered chauffeur work, Levi? It's something I'm somewhat considering, I guess is what he's talking about. Yes. Private rides. Private rides is something I've gone around and around and around about. A couple of things. Private livery business in the state of New York is not easy to set up. I've tried. You have to get your car registered as a livery car, but livery license plates on. You have to get commercial auto insurance, which we've already done. But now you can't use that vehicle for Uber unless you're doing Uber Black in New York City. But I don't live near New York City. So now I have to get two cars, one to do private rides, one to do Uber rides. And I like Uber driving better because I meet more people. It's more variety. I have done private rides though. I was trying to set up a business late last year. I had a client paying lots of money for me to do private rides. The problem was this. I couldn't get the insurance requirements that their business required for me to do it. They wanted something more than the state minimum. It doesn't matter the details, but I couldn't. There's nothing I could do. So many insurance companies have pulled out of the state of New York. Now, I liked doing the chauffeur work. It was great. And I thought for sure this was a thing I could turn into a business, doing private airport rides and things like that. The downside, though, for me, is I have to have multiple cars now. So now I'm setting up a whole nother business with a whole different vehicle. I'm sure it's easier in other states. I know drivers do it all the time. I know a lot of drivers that do it illegally off the books. I just don't want to do it that way. So I have considered it. I did like it. I liked serving the passengers that I got, the regulars, and it paid well. I just couldn't get, for the new contract for the next year, I couldn't get the correct insurance policy. So I shut it down. Drivers, how about it? That was a pretty good episode. I love accounting. I know it's probably boring for you guys, but it's really important. If you treat Uber like a business, you got to do some accounting. You got to have some spreadsheets somewhere. You can't be just saying, well, I measure my cost per mile or whatever. Who cares about that? You have to be putting some spreadsheets together. Drivers, for 2026, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. I want you to enjoy the ride. I want you to make as much money as possible. And I want you to know that I am cheering for you. My name is Levi Spires. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.